Good morning, students. So, we are doing chapter number 1, the human anatomy and physiology. And we have already done up to the functions of the skeletal system. And now we are going to start classification of different types of joints. So, as we all know, there are many joints between the bones of our body. As the whole skeletal system is made up of bones, where there is a union of two or more bones. So, bones are joined to each other by ligaments, and the study of joints is called arthrology. So, there are mainly three types of joints, they are fibrous or immovable joints. The next one is slightly movable or cartilaginous joints, and the third one is freely movable or synovial joints. So, fibrous or immovable joints, as from the name only you can understand that they are fixed and they cannot move, such as the bones of our skull or face. And these joints are also called fibrous joint because the bones are connected by fibrous tissue. The next is slightly movable or cartilaginous joints. So here the surface of the bones are separated by a pad of white fibrocartilage and only slight movement is possible. For example, the joints between the vertebra or pubic symphysis of pubis. The next is freely movable or synovial joints. That means these are the joints which can freely move. The adjacent end of the bones are covered with hyaline cartilage and are surrounded by fibrous articular capsule, which is strengthened by ligaments. As we know, tendons connect bones with muscles. So here tendons of muscles passes over these joints. So this hyaline cartilage actually provides smooth surface for the opposing bones, lubricated by synovial fluid. So these joints include most of the joints of the body, and it is classified into 6 categories. They are gliding joints, hinge joints, condyloid joints, saddle joints, ball and socket joints, and pivot joints. So first one is gliding joints. So such joints permit gliding movements only. And in these joints, the articular surface glide over each other. And it is found between tarsal bones of the ankle and between carpal bones of the wrist. Next is hinge joints. So these joints permit angular movement in one direction. It is just like a door, as we can move the door in one direction in the same manner. So these joints are present in the elbow joints, that is humerus and ulna, and in the knee, and also in the joints of phalanges. The next is condyloid joints. So these joints allow an angular movement in two directions. For example, wrist joint. The fourth one is saddle joint, and this joint permits a great freedom of movement. For example, joint of thumb. Next is ball and socket joint. So such joints have an angular movement in all directions. Examples are shoulder joint and hip joint. So these joints are just like a rounded head and a cup, as just the rounded head lies in cup-like cavity. The next one is pivot joint. So these are joints with a rotatory movement in one axis. For example, movements of head. So we have already read about atlas and axis, which is present in the vertebral column. So at the top of the vertebral column, there is a ring-like bone called atlas that rotates around the peg-shaped bone called axis. Next is types of joint movements in physical activities. So first one is flexion movement. So here at the joint, when we bend that part and the angle between them decreases and the parts come closer, then we can say it is flexion movement. As in figure 1.25, you can see the flexion movement, which is between the femur and the tibia at the knee, and the humerus and radius ulna at the elbow. The next is extension. So here straightening the parts at a joint so that the angle between them increases and the parts move farther apart. For example, straightening the femur and tibia at the knee and humerus and radius and ulna at the elbow. The next one is abduction. So in this case, when the parts are moved away from the midline, for example, lifting the upper limb horizontally to form a right angle with the side of the body. Or we can say raising the arms at the shoulder joint and spreading the fingers or toes apart. In case of adduction, the opposite happens, means moving a part towards the midline, means returning the upper limb from the horizontal position to the side of the body. For example, bringing the fingers or toes together. The next one is circumduction. So this kind of movement is best seen in the shoulder and hip joints. So it follows the circular path. One more example is there as moving a finger in a circular motion without moving the hand. Next is rotation. So rotation is a form of movement in which a bone moves around a central axis without undergoing any displacement from this axis. For example, twisting the head from side to side. And it can also occur in ball and socket joints of the shoulder and hip. So internal rotation is also there, which we call medial rotation also. So the movement of the arms at the shoulder or the thighs at the hip joints that bring the anterior surface of the limb towards the middle line of the body. Then it is called internal rotation or medial rotation. And in case of external rotation, the movement of the thigh at the hip joint moves the anterior surface of the limb away from the midline of the body. And this is called lateral rotation or external rotation. Now let's read how exercise is important or beneficial for the proper functioning of skeletal system. So the first point is it increases flexibility. As our body becomes flexible, next is it makes our bones stronger. If we do not perform exercise regularly, it will lead to the loss of bone density, as a result of which our bones will become weak and fragile and might be susceptible to injury. Next is strengthens joint. So regular exercise helps us to maintain our joints in sound health and reduces the chances of any degenerative joint disease. Next is good posture. So there are various exercises that help in maintaining good body postures and appropriate skeletal alignment. Next is brings about a healthy lifestyle. So what type of lifestyle we are leading, that is also important for maintaining the skeletal system. So in order to keep us healthy, we can perform our day-to-day activities efficiently as well as effectively by performing regular exercises. And the last one is improve soft tissue. So soft tissues are like tendons, ligaments, skin, fibrous tissues, fats, muscles, and blood vessels that surround the bones of our body. These tissues act as a shock absorber and protect our bones from damage or fracture. So with the help of regular exercise, our soft tissues become stronger, which ultimately help in protecting our bones.